Good afternoon, everyone. Good evening. And here we are right now, coming to you live after the game between the Jacksonville Jaguars and the LA Chargers. Setting the scenario, the scene, the LA Chargers was on a 4-game losing streak. Jacksonville Jaguars is on a 5-game losing streak. Jacksonville travels to LA, a place where they usually are blown out by the West Coast teams. Frustrated young team traveled to play against a dysfunctional Chargers team with their rookie quarterback. The Jaguars was just knocked all over the field in the first quarter, but it then turned things around and made the game very interesting in the second quarter as they pulled to within 16-14 of the Chargers. Third quarter saw 35 points scored between both teams in a magical way. There were turnovers. There was block punts. There was just you seen the scrapping of in the Jaguars team, but the fourth quarter found the Jaguars with too many fourth down, lack of conversions, too many penalties on defense, and it also saw Gardner Minshew not being able to connect as he should on key plays, namely, especially with his remaining wide receivers. Some glaring things that we see with the Jaguars is, of course, what we already know all season is that the challenges on defense is magnified, especially late in the season. You also see the fact that Gardner Minshew was only he's only able to he's not as accurate of a thrower as we need in a first in a starting quarterback. He's not capable of putting together some game-winning drives as we would need in a starting quarterback. Another glaring thing that we see is the fact that Jacksonville give up just too many points on defense. Today they gave up 39 points. As we take it to the stats, here we go. Uh, Total yards, Jacksonville had 294 yards on let's see, 294 to 484. And Jacksonville had one turnover. Of course, the Chargers didn't have any. Jacksonville had 15 first downs, and the Chargers had 29 first downs. Time of possession, Jacksonville had 25 minutes, and the Chargers had 34 minutes. And just to back up again, like I said, the Jaguars only amassed 294 yards, 400 to 484 yards of the Chargers. The game, of course, was a let's see. First downs, Jacksonville had 15. The Chargers had 29. For passing first downs, Jacksonville had 7. Chargers had 16. Rushing first down, Jags had 6. Chargers had 9. First down from penalties, 2 for Jacksonville, 4 for the Chargers. Third down efficiency was 6 of 15 for Jacksonville, 6 of 14 for the Chargers. Fourth down efficiency, Jacksonville only converted 1 of 4 fourth down total plays. Jacksonville had 59 plays that they produced this game, 77 by the Chargers, of course. Total yards, Jacksonville 294 yards, and the Chargers 484 yards. Total drive, Jacksonville had 12 drives, Chargers had 14 drives. Yards per play, Jacksonville had 5, and the Chargers had 6.3 yards per play. Passing yards, Jacksonville had 154 passing yards. Chargers had 349. Completion ratio, Gardner Minshew had 14 of 27. And, of course, the quarterback from the Chargers had 28 of 44. Yards per pass, 4.8 for Jacksonville. and for the Chargers, 7.8. Interceptions, no interceptions were thrown. Sacks, the Jaguars are 5 sacks for 19 yards. Chargers 1 sack for 2 yards. Rushing yards, 140 yards rushing for Jaguars, 135 for the Chargers. There was 27 rushing attempts for the Jaguars and 32 for the Chargers. 5.2 yards per carry for the Jaguars and 4.2 in the red zone. Jacksonville was 2 for 2. Chargers was 2 for 5. Jacksonville had 6 penalties for 55 yards. That wound up being to their detriment. And the Chargers had 3 penalties for 35 yards. Jags had 1 turnover. They had 1 fumble loss. Possession of 25 minutes and 29 seconds. The Chargers had 34 minutes, 31 seconds. So the Jags go on a break now. They're 1-6. They had an opportunity to move into third place in AFC South since Tennessee lost. Houston lost. I'm not sure about the Colts, but I know that the Houston Texans had lost. So the Jaguars had the opportunity to go ahead of Houston or at least tie them for a two-way tie in the third place in the AFC South. But instead, because Jacksonville lost and they remain 1-6, they are now sealed into the last place spot of the AFC South. And also now with the loss, Jacksonville is 1 game, well, actually 1 or 2 games away from elimination from the playoffs for 2020. And right now, the Jaguars gets a break, and then they'll come back with a very tough second half schedule. But for next week, Jacksonville will be off for a week. So the final score, like I said, is 39-26. The Jaguars take a loss to the LA Chargers, who was previously 1-4, but now they're 2-4. Jacksonville previously being 1-5. Now Jacksonville is 1-6. All right, so we're looking at now a team that is in disarray. Too many fourth down attempts is a glaring thing. Like I said, the team's offensive line, I would say, played very well. Gardner Minshew doesn't know how to get that ball out of his hand. He doesn't make very good decisions on the run. He has a very difficult time of connecting to his receivers. So we're in trouble with the quarterback position. Robinson, I don't see any problem at all with that young man. But quarterback, the quarterback and the coach, and I mean, it's a lot of challenges. I don't know what we can do in this week off, but I think that one thing maybe we could do is get healthier because we've lost a lot of people, and we're pretty much playing with a college team out there at this point, at this stage in the game. The Jaguars is pretty much a pretty talented college team, but we are definitely a struggling team with no answers in sight. So it should be going to be interesting to see what they do in this break, because with a lot of players hurt, and we wish Westbrook the best. And we really that was kind of tough seeing him go down like that. But we just wish him the best, and hopefully we get some of our players back, as we got a very challenging second half. The next 8 games are going to be very grueling. We have some pretty tough teams. We got Baltimore coming up. We got Pittsburgh Steelers coming up. Like I said, we got some tough teams coming up. So we need to get healthy. And we need to get healthy quick if we want to be able to kind of run off a couple of games. This was the one we had to have. We kind of needed this game here, because a lot of the games we play coming up are going to be some tough games. And we could have stole this one. This kind of hurt. This one kind of hurt because this is one of the ones we could have stole, but because of some poor coaching and some indecisiveness on the behalf of the quarterback, and some limited play. We're very predictable. Our plays are very predictable, and there is no. But I will say they did step it up with the rushes, and I would do that with a young team. I'd rush them every down actually, and I kind of like that they did that. Hopefully, they continue with that in the second half of the season. They come out there and kind of really pressure the quarterback, because pretty much that's what everyone was looking at Jacksonville, that they're not pressuring the quarterback like they should. But overall, I say the Jaguars, as a team, played a very tough game. There was just kind of unfortunate some of the circumstances that happened in the game that caused them to lose this game. But with that being said, 1-6, they should be at least 2-4, or maybe 3-3, possibly. But 1-6, that was a tough loss. That was a tough loss. All right. So with that being said, go Jags.